Okay, that was strange. Hey there, how you doing? On our play for this week. Actually, you know what? Actually, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna check this because I don't want to go through an hour of recording and the audio's not working, and I'm still waiting to check. Yeah, there we go. We're all good. Hey, how you doing? On our play for this week, is Nintendo finally ready to show us the Switch 2? This rumor thinks so. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is finally out with mixed feelings, high Steam numbers, and the weirdest microtransaction to date. All this and more on Season 8, Episode 43 of Press X to Start Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka the Ghost of Astro Past. I am joined by
Sean M. Frost.
what does the M&F stand for?
As you can see with the library behind me, the most studious.
Ah, this man is always studying, studious definitions. This is Press X Start Gamers Digest, a video podcast that connects the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal just for you. Happy Halloween. This is sure to be a very spooktacular, not really, it's just a normal episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoy this episode because we are on YouTube every Sunday. We made it. When we can, because life is hard.
But choosing a president is not easy.
No, it's not. Please vote. Fuck it. Vote for Kamala. If you vote for Trump, you're not in the right place. Oh, man. Don't forget, support us by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hit the notification bell. If you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the podcast service you're currently tuned in on. My kombucha bottle almost exploded right next to me. No, that's just a wrapper. Never mind. If you want, you can join our conversations by joining our Discord at pressxnumber2start.com/Discord. Join us. We're good people. We have fun. You can have fun too with us.
Good people on both sides.
Oh, all right. With that out the way, let us jump into the gaming news with number one. This is a rumor. Right now, it's a grain of salt level rumor, but there's some credibility in terms of who this is coming from. So, hello. Nintendo leaker narrows down potential Switch 2 reveal date. This comes to us from Game Rant by way of Dominique Bosenjak.
Mm.
I know the first name is right. I don't know about the second name. The last name. All right. So, as the title suggests, the Switch 2 may be announced on the week of October 28th. That is this week coming. Actually, by the time you hear this, it's very possible we might know what the Switch 2 is already. Or Nintendo's like, no, and we don't know anything.
Are they trying to get ahead of the election before they get drowned out?
You know what? That could be plausible. Yeah. So wait, okay. So
Or
the Switch 2,
if Trump gets elected, they'd be like, all right, well, this might cheer you up. Here's a Switch 2.
right here. Play some games for the next 4 years. Oh man. Okay. So the source of the rumor itself is a Brazilian journalist, Pedro Henrique.
Mm-hmm.
Lupe?
All that.
Okay. Yeah. He's the one who broke the story of the Switch 2 being delayed to 2025 earlier this year, which was one of the biggest Nintendo related scoops of 2024. During his latest YouTube live stream, Lippi, we're going to go with Lippi, once again discussed the Switch 2 successor and even went as far as to attempt to narrow down the reveal date. Specifically, the insider said that the console is likely to be showcased next week, so between October 28th and November 1st, not accounting for the somewhat unlikely scenario of a weekend announcement. Elaborating on this time frame, Lipe said he plans on refreshing Nintendo's Twitter feed during key hours on Monday and Tuesday. This is possibly because the company is likely to share a teaser a day ahead of the full review, much like it handled the Switch announcement back in 2016, October 2016. So here we go again. Here we go again. There was talk that we were going to see the Switch 2 um, show itself in September. That didn't
Yep.
happen. It's now October, and this is kind of starting the train back up again.
What if they keep
Um,
pushing it back because they're tired of people trying to guess?
right. There's one person that's just browsing the internet, just looking for these rumors. Like, oh, okay, yes, that's what y'all think. We're gonna go back another month. So, what I was saying earlier is that like this is not just the one leaker that's posted. Another
Yeah.
leaker Pyro, I might be pronouncing that wrong. He's like a big Nintendo leaker, and he actually switched his background image to the Alarmo, and he
Yeah.
like tweeted something with like eyeballs like looking over or whatever. And it seems like he's trying to suggest something, or they are trying to suggest something is happening. And it's been a bunch of other leakers are kind of just basically creating this cloud of it's possible that we might be seeing something come next week. If that happens, I think that's really cool. It's really interesting. There was also
Yeah.
what's that? It's not Banjo Kazooie, but the other one, with the purple lizard and the green.
It's a Nintendo property?
It's like a rare property. Um, I forget it, but the point is they are releasing a like a remaster, like a replay kind of game
Mhm.
remaster, and it's gonna be coming to current gen consoles and Nintendo. And that actually made waves because it is like, okay, what do you mean Nintendo? You mean the Switch, right? But they
Mm.
were very vague in terms of it's coming to Nintendo, which is leading to, okay, it's obviously coming for the Switch too. It might not be, it might be a thing where it's not coming from the Switch, it's coming for just the Switch too. So that's why they have to say it's coming from Nintendo console, but we can't exactly say which console is coming to. So this is all kind of leading into the thing of we might be seeing the Switch 2 a lot sooner than we kind of thought when we got the news that it was going to be, I guess, delayed or coming out in 2025. Um, just to package this whole like speculation station thing happening, there's also a rumor that Elden Ring 2 Definitive Edition is also going to be coming to the Switch 2 and
No,
also
no,
going
no,
to be
no, no,
coming
no.
out.
Elden Ring. The title was just jacked up.
Oh, the first one.
You said Elden Ring 2, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then I would yes, yes. What Sean said, Elden Ring Definitive Edition. So that is also because there's no Elden Ring 2, of course. That is also a like that would be a very mind blowing thing if Elden Ring is able to play on the Switch 2. Again, there's been a lot of rumors of how powerful the Switch 2 is going to be in terms of it's
Yeah.
supposed to be eyeing for PS4 like Xbox One level graphics, but it does have DSL SS what whatever.
DLSS. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. He always messed that up. But so we don't really know, of course, because this is all speculation. It could be a thing of the Switch 2 is actually just a Switch Pro, and we're just like, oh my god, I can't believe we all fell for this. And Nintendo's just laughing because they know we're gonna buy it anyways. But yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. There's not really any resolution to this until next week when we're talking about games and stuff. And we're like, hey, look, I guess we're still waiting for this whole Switch 2 thing to happen. But yeah, speaking of two, number two, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 debuted to mixed reactions on Steam as players complain about wonky performance crashes and the COD launcher, as they always do. So this comes to us from Games Radar by way of Con Serin. So there, this is just going to be a bunch of numbers. We don't really know how well um,
Yeah.
the game's going to sell until we get the reports and stuff. So that's going to take time, of course. But as it is right now, it is sitting at a mixed review on Steam because of performance issues. Um, this game, I don't. So far, I've ran into. I've also been playing the game. So far, I ran
Yeah.
into one bug that soft locked me, and I had to literally like restart the whole mission in order to progress. And I'm replaying that mission now, even though I was gonna just not do it, but I want to get through this campaign to see like what it's like.
Yeah.
For those who are playing the game, the the bug happens in the open zone desert area. One of the quest givers has a health bar that is just unknown, and he can die. And if he dies, you pretty much are soft locked out of completing the mission and progressing.
That's rough.
Yeah, and the fact that it's an open zone thing, and there's like probably about probably about like 12 to 15 different like POIs that you can hit. And
Mhm.
if you collect all that stuff and you get to the end, you're like, okay, well, I'm done with this stage. You can't progress, and you just have to just redo the whole thing over again, which is what I'm doing now. It is very
Terrible.
annoying. Yeah. Um, Other than that though, the game is uh, it's a Call of Duty game. It's pretty cookie cutter. Like I'm actually getting into my impressions of the game. I'll pull back so I can talk about it a little bit after we get through the Call of Duty stuff. But yes, it's in a mixed reaction. Of course, that changes all the time. This is Steam. This is how people vent their frustrations with the games. This is how they try to like reach out to the company so they know how they're feeling. But in terms of Steam numbers, it's doing really well.
I feel like they're irrelevant.
The Steam numbers,
I mean, the majority of people play it on console or whatever. Like, yeah, this is hovering around, 200
yeah.
k plus, but how many millions of people are playing it on Xbox and PS?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
and
that number is more interesting.
yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And I think this is just a symptom of because Steam DB is just available to the
Available.
public, it's just gotten such a big like groundswell of like, okay, we're gonna look at that number because we have
When
access to
it's
that number.
indicative of not a damn thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So right now, this article, I actually looked up the numbers recently. So the
Mhm.
article has the concurrent player count at 229,000 players. It's actually around like 309,000 players.
Ah,
And this is the end of the weekend, so it probably is not going to increase past that. It's probably going to drop a little bit because people are starting to go to bed and get ready to go to work and all that stuff for tomorrow. This puts that count number is way above the Modern Warfare 3 count number, which was 190,000. And of course, that is because Modern Warfare 3 wasn't well received. People called it DLC and all that stuff. Um, and that 309 number, actually, that peak number for the Modern Warfare 2 is also not correct. They're saying that the peak number for Modern Warfare 2 was 262,875.
mhm.
When I looked online, it was like 400 and something thousand. So I don't
They're
know
saying
exactly.
at launch.
Oh, at launch. Okay, okay, okay. So yeah, I mean, if in that
Mhm.
case, this is doing better than Modern Warfare 2 did at launch. Um, so of course, all these numbers is pulled from Steam charts and stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of the COD launcher, I can give my opinion. I think it looks fine. After you get used to a UI for so long, it's just kind of like, okay, well, I kind of know how to get to the thing I need to get to. And now they switched it. It's kind of like, all right, I don't really know where to go now just to play the game. So I had to do some like fiddling around to get to the Black Ops portion of the game. And then Black Ops basically splits the three modes out for multiplayer, single player, and zombies. So
Mm.
yeah, once I got there, I was fine. Although the launcher needs they need to figure that out because it is still not as best as it could be because it shouldn't be this complicated to get to like the different aspects of Call of Duty. But yeah, that's that. In terms of my, I guess, quick feedback or quick impressions of the game, I think it's fine. I'm kind of sitting at a 7. I
Yeah,
think I gave Modern Warfare 3 a 7, and it just kind of feels like, oh, okay, this is this template that they're going to use for the game.
going
This is
forward.
this template
Yeah,
they're going to, yeah, because like the the open world zone thing is very similar to the Warzone map that they use for Modern Warfare 3, and
uh,
you were just
uh,
going around doing stuff like that. But like in this version, it's a desert, so there's not really that much stuff going
to
on. You're
do.
just really just driving to this, yeah. So I technically I prefer the actual like city zone area because I think that felt more interesting than just like desert zone. But again, that could my opinions can change as I progress through the story and like I experience cooler things. I did also play through the what is it? The whole Bill Clinton thing where you're playing as a spy kind of.
Mm,
The one that they promoted a lot. It was okay. I think they did I think the way they promoted it was way more actually interesting or way more interesting than what it actually turned out to be. And that was kind of just like, oh man, I wish there was a
I guess I'll
more
see after Black Friday, maybe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll have more solid opinions come next week once I beat the game. Um, so yeah, in terms of this next story is very strange. So Black Ops 6 hides better audio behind an additional purchase for some reason. This comes to us from the video gamer by way of
Lewis White.
thank you.
Um, Everybody kind of sensationalized
Yeah,
what it actually was.
yeah, yeah,
Um, you can map out your ear to hear things, slightly better. So they have a universal profile for everybody else.
yeah.
Um, they have an immersive one that'll map out your ear. What the hell they call it? HRTF. I forget what the hell that stands
Oh
for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. HRTF, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Head related transfer function. There you go.
and what this is a third party outside of Activision is working with Activision to provide this enhanced like um headphone mode, like this enhanced audio setup for you. So you are paying for that. And when you pay into it, you have it for 5 years. So is it weird? Yes. Is it anything that's going to impact your performance of Call of Duty? Probably not unless you are a streamer that
I
is
really hope they fix the audio to begin with to even have the audacity of selling better quote unquote audio. So
Yeah. I will say that like the one issue that I'm having is that the game is incredibly dark and it's like, "Hey, look at that HDR is amazing." But it's just like I feel like I have to go in and like really adjust like the brightness and darkness and stuff to like get it to
yeah,
actually be able to see some of the stuff. Yeah. I also wanted I didn't even get to talk about there's a home base that you like build a team and it's like a mansion or whatever. And there's some cool stuff there. I really like the idea. It just felt like it kind of took my immersion away because the game allows you to walk away from people talking to you and
hmm
they can also be talking about a mission. So I was sitting there with them and I was just like, "Oh, you know what? I got this cool
I
blacklight thing."
feel like you could do that in Cold War. I don't remember.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't play Cold War, so I don't even know.
Mm.
But yeah, like I got this black light because I completed this like little side quest in the house, and I shined the light, and there was footsteps on the ground. So of course, like a squirrel, I followed the footsteps while they were talking about whatever they were talking about, and I was just like, "Oh, they're not pausing for me. They just continue talking about the mission." So when I came back, they're already done, and like I just had to go click on the stuff. I was just like, "All right, whatever." Yeah,
I told
but
you
yeah,
about
I
the
mean,
mission. If you die, you die. You chose to walk off.
exactly.
I'm only
Right.
saying
Not
it
like
once.
you're important.
Mm.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean there's not too much else to be said about that whole audio thing.
Yeah.
It's just it is what it is. So the last little bit of Call of Duty news is Call of Duty Black Ops 6 could boost Game Pass subscribers by 2.5 million to 4 million. This comes to us from GameBiz.com or GameIndustry.biz. Jesus, I'm just not even reading words. I'm just looking at stuff by way of Christopher Dring. So this is speculation based off of a couple of analysts who are all kind of giving their take on how Call of Duty Black Ops could perform for Game Pass based off the fact that this is Call of Duty sells. So one analyst is saying that putting Call of Duty in Game Pass could result in up to 6 million lost sales based on the idea that 25% of Game Pass subscribers may have bought the game anyways. However, he adds that the move could result in between 3 to 4 million players signing up to Game Pass to access the title. I think it will be very interesting to see if Microsoft actually comes out and says like, oh, or like even gives us a Game Pass number, because
They,
it is kind
they
of
won't until they feel like they're beating Sony in some metric. I highly doubt they will.
right, yeah, and
Or it'll come out in some like earnings call or some shit.
exactly, and I think the scary part for them is that actually, is it in here somewhere? Yeah, let me just read ahead. I think they're going to talk about it. Good overall for Microsoft and consumer, he told us, but the headline will say Call of Duty sales are down. So I think that's the thing right there, that if people are buying into Game Pass, they're not buying Call of Duty, that is going to affect the sales. And if this game is like, oh, it's scored well, but it's not selling, it's going to look very weird to the general consumer who's just like, oh, I guess this game is not doing well this time around, who may not even know about the whole Game Pass thing unless they open up their Xbox thing and see Call of Duty in the front. So another analyst has said that they're a little bit more conservative. They're estimating this might be like between like 2.5 million to 4 million. So that's where we get that range of 2.5 to like 4 million. But I think it's the idea that this is sort of the biggest hammer for Microsoft. And once like this is already out, so it is going to be a bellwether of, is this going to be an effective thing for Game Pass? And the other side to it is that this amount of people that is going to be jumping on the Game Pass can only happen, well, will only happen this one time, because those people are, well, I guess if they leave Game Pass, and that's actually going to be another problem. They get back on Game Pass when the next Call of Duty come out.
Hey, I mean, people do it with streaming, subscriptions. They just hop on just to binge their show.
That's true.
And if you're a real hardcore player of Call of Duty, I mean, I guess you'll keep it, but why wouldn't you just buy it? You're gonna end up spending more money in the long run if that's the only game you play. Yep. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah,
they won't tell us whether it fails or not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I think we won't. There won't really be
BS metrics where they'd be like, "Hey, we had 3 million people playing, Black Ops 6 on." I don't know if they're gonna consider
Xbox
like
systems or something.
No. I mean, like, if you have Game Pass Essential, like the base of the base, are they still gonna count that in? Like, we have this many Game Pass people playing.
Oh, actually, that's a good point. I don't think
No. You're misunderstanding me. I understand that Black Ops 6 is not gonna be on Essential.
Okay,
but you're still signed into quote unquote.
Yes. You're signed to your Xbox account with Game Pass.
It's no longer Xbox Live. It's all just Game Pass Essential. So
we've
had this many Xbox Live / Game Pass people playing Call of Duty. They can skew the numbers.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that is masterful manipulation of numbers, but like I can totally see that also being the game.
Sony could probably also do the same thing, but we'll see how this goes.
But then again, like that's the thing where Sony doesn't really. They're not like, hey, all these people played on PlayStation Plus. They don't. They don't care. They're just like, hey man, you guys played on a console.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is going to be a thing. We probably won't know because I think right now, actually, we do have Sakana report coming later on that talks about the top selling stuff in September, and I think Call of Duty is like number 3 or something like that. So, which is interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Black Ops rock pack. Rock. Number 3, rumor. Xbox PS5 ports have slowed down following Indiana Jones announcement. This comes to us from Pure Xbox. So according to Exasis, the Spanish insider who regularly leaks accurate Game Pass news, Microsoft has either paused or slowed down. Oh, actually, wait. This is from Ben Carey. Sorry about that. Microsoft either paused or slowed down bringing its games to PS5. The leaker is keen to stress that Xbox hasn't canceled these plans, but the fan reaction to Indiana's simultaneous PS5 announcement has made Xbox take notice. Interestingly, while these multi-platform plans don't seem to have stopped entirely, Exis, I'm just going to call him that for right now because I don't know how to pronounce that name, does state that popular Xbox Series, Gears, and Halo are red lines for Microsoft, seemingly means that these two franchises are completely off the table for bringing them to other platforms like PS5. Finally, the insider adds their opinion that Microsoft will continue to move forward once the Indiana Jones reaction has died down. And we can see this happening as well. A lot of the community frustration seems to have stemmed from Xbox not waiting to announce the game for PS5. So maybe Team Green will take a more cautious approach with these PS5 reveals in the future. Before we even talk about this,
I don't even think it matters, but go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna jump to the next thing.
No. Okay, before you do that, I was gonna say we already know that they're gonna have Xbox games, first party, whatever, coming to PS5. Even if they don't simultaneously announce it for the PS5, or whether it's a simultaneous release or a delayed release, people already know that Microsoft/Xbox is gonna do that. So they may wait anyway, and it's still gonna hamper whatever sales that they were trying to save by just not announcing it for PlayStation. The cat's out the bag already.
Yes. Before we jump to the next thing, because the next thing is pretty much like, oh, okay, well, yeah. Like, the problem with Xbox is that they are in third place. They have Game Pass, which is working for them. We don't know how well it's working, but it's working enough where they haven't discontinued the service, right?
Yeah.
And the problem, though, is that they still aren't making enough money where they can just keep their games on their consoles as their own ecosystem. They had to peel off some of the Xbox exclusives like Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, and some other games.
Penitence or some whatever the hell it was.
Yes. They peeled those games off, put them on the PlayStation, see how it did, and it did well. When they gave that whole like discussion of like their plans for the future, they said Indiana Jones was going to stay on Xbox, not come to PlayStation. Phil Spencer said that. And we're like, okay, you guys are just testing the waters. And turns out the waters are pretty lucrative. And they switched their plans and they say, hey guys, Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation 5 next year. And it's like, oh, okay, so you guys are very flexible with this. Yeah. And after that, I believe there was rumors that the Halo collection that was going to be worked on was going to be coming to the PlayStation 5. And people were just like, oh, that's an interesting thing. Some time passed, and now we have the whole thing of Halo switching engines from Slipstream to Unreal. And it's like, that's interesting. And they played this whole thing off as like, oh, it's going to allow us to build our content more quickly and all that stuff. And it's just like, sure, but you're using Slipstream for a very long time. So I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty efficient at it. It's just you guys couldn't. That was a whole tech thing for you guys. So it's like they are setting these things up where it's just like, oh no, this is for our benefit. But it's also like, this is also this could also work for like porting stuff to the PS5 a lot easier if you wanted to. So I look at this and I'm thinking like, this kind of feels like you guys are just trying to like damage control. And I'm not the only one. Part A of this, Microsoft CEO gaming division update. We continue to extend our content to new platforms. This also comes to us from Pure Xbox by way of Liam Dolan. So, following the rumor about Xbox's PS5's porting slowing down, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has briefly touched on the company's game division in its annual letter to shareholders, acknowledging this new strategy codenamed Project Latitude, which we talked about Latitude a little bit before. This is a quote from Nadella. We brought 4 of our fan favorite titles to Nintendo Switch and Sony PlayStation for the first time as we continue to extend our content to new platforms. In the same sequence about Microsoft's gaming division, Nadella mentioned how the company strives to bring great games to more people on more devices. It will also continue to innovate to offer players more ways to experience the games they love, where, when, and how they want, with services like Xbox Cloud Gaming. So the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King has added hundreds of millions of players to Microsoft gaming ecosystem, with the tech giant now in control of 20 franchises that have generated over $1 billion in lifetime revenue from Candy Crush. Oh, you can just kind of stop at Candy Crush. But yeah, from Candy Crush, Diablo, Halo, to Warcraft, Elder Scrolls, and Gears of War. So the I'm reading ahead. This other stuff is just acknowledging the article that I just read about the whole rumor thing. Yeah. So essentially, Nadella is reaffirming the stance that Project Latitude is still a go. They are still going to be porting games over to Xbox or over to the other devices, which is Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. So it is a thing of, sure, Halo and Gears might not be coming now or next year, but I feel like, not even feel like, this seems like if there is money to be made, Nadella is going to want to make that money. And if that money is found on PlayStation platforms, he's going to tell Phil, put the game on PlayStation. And Phil's going to be like, okay, well, I guess I got to now. And then Phil's going to have to craft a wonderful letter where he's just like, I'm sorry, guys, but we're going to try another little testing of waters where we put our Halo and our Gears on the PlayStation platform just to see how it does.
Our best and our brightest.
Yeah, because it's just like, okay, well, yeah. So that's that. At this point, you can believe what you want, but if the head honcho, Big Daddy Satya Nadella is like, hey guys, we're going to bring our stuff over to the other platforms, it doesn't seem like Sarah and Phil and team can be like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to still keep these games on the Xbox platform. So yeah, we'll see. Well, I guess you guys will see because I will still be playing whatever Last of Us 3 by the time or whatever. All right. Before we jump into the things that are happening at Bungie, hey, you, please like, subscribe. Tell us what your thoughts on Call of Duty Black Ops. Did you get it? Are you waiting for Black Friday like Sean is, or are you one of the people that have an Xbox that got it on Game Pass like Jordan? You enjoying it? Did you hit that soft lock like I did, or did you get past it because you didn't have the guy killed in some random way? Let us know in the comments. Thanks. Number 4. Bungie creative team moves to PlayStation. This comes to us from GameIndustry.biz by way of Sophia McGonboy, McVoy,
Mm-hmm.
McKeeboy. So
Mm-hmm.
Bungie's creative studio team has moved to PlayStation Studio to support its live service games. Period. That's it. All right, next source. But yeah, so former senior creative director of Bungie Creative, Bridget O'Neill shared the news on LinkedIn, writing that the team will build the future for a creative team within PlayStation. It is to note that I think this is just reaffirming the rumor that there was going to be this studio being pulled, like this was going to be a studio that was going to be built into PlayStation from ex Bungie people. So this is just kind of reaffirming that. Um, O'Neill also announced she would be taking on the role of senior director of creative at PlayStation Studios. This opportunity to share our experience working on Bungie titles with our studios that are building live service games is so exciting, she wrote. Live service is hard and comes with a unique set of challenges. So, with PlayStation and Bungie working together, we will be able to give a huge jumpstart on development for new games as they enter the competitive market. In July, Bungie laid off 220 developers, which amounted to 70% of its overall headcount. An additional 155 roles joined Sony Interactive Entertainment. Okay, with 75 people moving to form a new studio within PlayStation to work on one of Bungie's incubation projects. So yeah, this is good news in that these people will have a job and they're not completely effed over from the whole
I'm
Bungie
trying to figure out
layoff.
if this is like the entire Bungie or is this just like a section
Oh, this is just a
because it's
section.
all caps. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, just for the fact that it's Bungie laid off 220 developers, which is only 17% of their overall headcount. So it's probably like 1,000 roughly. So yeah, and I don't think we know exactly what game they're working on with this. It's
Yeah,
not
y'all
Marathon.
don't know what we know.
Yeah, you know. Whenever they're ready to show us, they'll show something. I think it's also interesting to note that the other group of people are going to be put into different studios to support the live service games. And that is also reaffirming this whole live service push that PlayStation is doing. Um, I think from what I remember, we have the Horizon Monster Hunter game, we have Marathon, we have Arc Raiders, which interesting enough, I followed Reddit. They had a closed beta test like I think this weekend actually, and it's looking pretty interesting. I'm not gonna really like comment on it because I wasn't in the test. They're not really showing images. They're all being super careful about what they say because none of them wants to get like kicked out because they're enjoying the game. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see that when that happens. Maybe this year. I don't think it's gonna be this year because I think they're trying to give some time between Concord and the next live service game they show off. But yes. Um Number 5. Baldur's Gate 3 exec says Ubisoft is to blame for Prince of Persia's Lost Crown selling poorly. So just to give a little backstory before we jump into this, last week we talked about the rumor that the Prince of Persia team was essentially being dissolved because Ubisoft said that the Prince of Persia Lost Crown game didn't essentially meet their sales expectation, which is kind of ridiculous because how crazy was their sales expectation to be like this game that is being lauded as like one of the best Metroidvanias to date um
Yeah.
didn't sell well. And it's like, okay, well, as the Baldur's Gate 3 exec saying, that's kind of on Ubisoft because the developers made a good game. So it's up to the publisher to figure out how to sell that game. And Ubisoft has had a very bad string of, not being able to properly market or sell their games for whatever reason. And this is just another one of those things where Ubisoft turns to developers and like, you guys are going to take the blame, not us. Ah, so yes.
You know what? They have too much going on because I thought it was a Sands of Time remake, but then you have the Lost Crown, but then you also have the upcoming Rogue Prince of Persia.
That's
It's
out
not
already.
clear. Okay, this is an old thing.
Yeah.
They're just not giving things room to breathe, but also making poor decisions after the fact. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like the fact that like we had Lost Crown come out and then a couple months later we have another Prince of Persia come out. Everyone's just like, why you put this other game out?
That
Like
quickly, yeah.
and the
Okay,
the
I
the
thought I was going crazy.
yeah, and the worst part about it is that like the Lost Crown is like really amazing in terms of like people's like reactions to it and how well it did critically. And like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've heard anybody talk about the other Prince of Persia game other
The
than like
Rogue
when it
One. Let me see.
yeah. So it's just like, all right, like this is just so weird and just mismanagement by Ubisoft. But again,
Yeah,
not surprising.
let me see. The Lost Crown came out in January of this year, January 18th, and then the other
Mhm.
one came out in May.
Yeah,
That's too.
it's too
It's
close.
too
It's
quick.
too close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, director of publishing at Baldur's Gate 3 studio, Arian, says Ubisoft management is to blame for Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown selling below expectation. In a post on X, as spotted by 80 Level, Michael Duas,
Sure.
Duas, yeah, suggested the game's relative failure wasn't down to the development team, but to Ubisoft's management. Dow said Ubisoft should have released the game on Steam on day one rather than 7 months later. Instead, the PC version launched on the Epic Games Store and the Ubisoft Store, which Dow said would have been underused by players at the time. This is true because this actually forgot about this whole thing that came along with the Lost Crown and like it wasn't on Steam. And as
They keep on taking that easy money because I'm sure Epic threw some money at them.
That's exactly what
And
happened. Yeah. Yeah. Like the epic thing happened because I think Yves Gamont came out and said that they're going to be going with Epic Games and not Steam at the time because like Steam was giving them like or Epic gave them a better deal or whatever. And it's like okay, you are going for the money, but you're obviously not going for the player base because Steam
you're not
is
going for the long money.
yeah. And this is the result of that. The result is Lost Crown team being dissolved, Assassin's Creed Shadows being pushed back so they can launch the game on Steam, like with the same time as console release. Like Ubisoft just not being in a good place where Tencent's looking to buy them. Like this is just a bunch of like crap that's happening because they're just not properly managing themselves. They're not making the best decisions because they're just doing stuff for God knows what reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's another quote. The last notable game on their platform was arguably the last notable game on their platform was arguably Far Cry 6 in 2021. He explained. The Crew, Mirage, and Avatar came in 2023 and didn't perform, so you can assume subscriptions were in a lull when Prince of Persia released in 2024, which means people wouldn't be launching their store at all. No, all too much.
Mm.
Um, if he had released it on Steam, not only would it have been a market success, but there would have likely been a sequel because the team was so strong, or team are so strong. Yeah, it's just it's terrible to see Ubisoft mismanaging this stuff and just destroying a lot of goodwill that they build by putting this game out. On top of that, it is also I also want to note that the developers described the Lost Crown, that whole development team,
Yeah.
they were making that game was considered like a safe haven from working on Beyond Good and Evil 2 because that game has been like a complete trash fire in
They're still
terms
working
of
on
its
that.
development cycle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're still working on that. So people from that team pretty much migrated to Lost Crown to like blow off steam to like essentially recuperate from their work time with Beyond Good and Evil 2. Yeah, it's just a mess. It's just a mess, and Ubisoft just continues this like downhill slide, and it's just
Thanos is back in 08.
Yeah,
and then again in 26.
yeah. That
All right.
2017 trailer was like completely just ridiculous in terms of like, what are you trying to sell here with this game? This is not a game. This is like a tech demo in the worst way. So yeah. Number 6. September 2024 Sakana report from Matt Pispatella on Blue Sky and not Twitter because he has left Twitter and I don't blame him. So they've shown a bunch of stuff. And a couple things to note. So the September 2024 top 20 best-selling games, physical and full game digital from Nintendo Switch, eShop, PlayStation, Steam, and Xbox platforms for publishers in the digital leader panel.
Yeah.
Yes, all of that. These is basically the top selling games for September. Number 1, EA Sports FC 25. That's dope. Number 2, Astrobot. So Astrobot did very, very well. The fact that it is beating Madden NFL 2025, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which also came out. Yeah, also came out in September. Wait. EA Sports College Football. So wait, what? EA Sports FC. Oh, that's the soccer. That's FIFA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
They're doing well without the FIFA license.
Yeah.
They're sticking it to them.
I got this confused. I thought the college football sold better than Astrobot. The fact that it sold better than Astrobot is insane for how.
Well, no, it dropped down. So last month it was that number too.
Oh,
so, I mean,
right. It didn't come out. Yes, you're right. Yes, good point. Below that, number 6 is Star Wars Outlaws, and then below that we have NBA 2K25. I'm just gonna go to the top 10. At number 8, we have Hogwarts Legacy. It's like
amazing.
That is insane. Number what was that? Number 9, we have NHL 2025, and number 10, we have God of War Ragnarok. And I was like, where did Ragnarok come in? They released their PC version of the game. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then just another notable thing, at number 13, we have Elden Ring, still kicking. Number 15, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, still kicking. And then number 19, we have Ghost of Tsushima. And it's like, where did that come?
I mean, it was number 15, so I mean, it wasn't that far. It dropped a little bit.
Oh, that's good. I
would say what's most amazing is Dead Rising, that used to be at rank 502, jumping to number 11.
Oh yeah. So Dead Rising, that was that they released the remake, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But the original jumped up.
I'm wondering if it's all included in the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Who knows?
That could be it. Yeah. So that was just for September, and then this other list is for the top 20 games of the year. So number 1, we have EA Sports College Football. So it is still number 1. Number 2 is Helldivers 2. Number 3 is Modern Warfare 3. I think that is interesting for how well Call of Duty usually sells, but then the fact that this Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 wasn't received as well affected it to this point, such like so far removed kind of thing. Number 4, we have EA Sports MVP Bundle. Number 5, Elden Ring. Number 6, Dragon's Dogma 2.
Proud.
That is That is like
move on, DJ. Nobody cares about Dragon's Dogma.
no. The fact that is number 6, that is like watching my little seed that everybody bullied and say that it's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to grow up and become an astronaut or a firefighter. And look at it. It's not an astronaut. It's not a firefighter. But it's like a pilot. You know, it's doing things. It's doing things. I'm happy for them. Even though the developer of the game left Capcom, so you know it is what it is, I guess. The rest of the list is sports stuff. So we have MLB the show, we have WWE is not sports, but shout out to them. Then we have EA Sports FC 25, which is probably going to be number 2 by October.
Yep.
That's pretty much it in terms of the report. Things that got pulled out of this is that Xbox Series X is now outselling Xbox Series S in the US per new sales report.
That's not hard to do.
It's not. But the console hardware is still dropping. So it is a thing of Xbox Series X, I believe, is beating Xbox Series S by about 51% in terms of how many people have Xbox Series X versus S, or how much Xbox Series X sold compared to Xbox Series S. So it's a very weird way of saying Xbox Series X is doing better, but it's just for September. And then on top of that, the PS5 was best-selling console of the month, but I believe the number is 82% of the PS5 consoles are disc versions and not digital versions. And that is a thing of when the PS5 came out, the digital version, there was about like 20% of those in the actual market for people to purchase. I would have a digital version if I could have gotten one, because I
wouldn't allow
it. Oh yeah, because you bought one, right?
No friend of mine is gonna give a damn console.
Like, wait, John, I wanted a discless. What is this thing? Oh man. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Okay. So the rest are the quick hits. Number 7. Balatro adds new card backs for from Stardew Valley, Cyberpunk 2077, Slay Spire, and what's that last game, Sean?
Oh,
Binding of Isaac.
Still coming out strong.
It's almost like they were like, there is this guy named Sean that plays our game. We should see if we can make him super happy. I mean, the only thing they need to say is Parasite Eve here. You know what I mean?
I'll throw my laptop out the window.
Right. And the best part is that they are all free.
Listeners, watchers, if they announce Parasite Eve, I might do whatever wild thing you suggest.
When they announce Parasite Eve remake or remaster, that's gonna be the year of Sean. Like that's gonna be the start of it.
I'll shave my head off.
So yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to be said other than these card backs are coming, which I think is a really cool and interesting way of keeping Balatro relevant. And it's like, this doesn't change the game in any way. It keeps the same game that you know and love. It just adds this extra visual flair for the people who, you know, love these games. It's just like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then number 8, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, significantly longer than Kiryu's recent spinoff. This comes to us from Push Square. Just to note, the man who erased his name clocked in about 12 hours, where Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is going to clock around like around 18 hours.
I mean, people actually play Like a Dragon don't just play just a story and try to beat it as fast as possible. So at 12 hours and at 18 hours, I would bump that up by 50 to 100%. Like I'd have to look at how long I spent on the man who erased his name.
Yeah, because and that's gonna depend on like, okay, are there like collectibles and stuff that you can play? Like, what are the mini games like? Are you factoring the time it takes to actually beat the mini game? So like that number is gonna be very, very flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it for the news. Do I have anything else to say about actually, you know what? I do have one other thing to note. So, we're gonna jump into the what we've been playing section where do you have any games you want to talk about, Sean?
Nope, I ain't been playing nothing.
Okay. So, as I had mentioned earlier in the very beginning of this episode, I've been playing Black Ops 6. I jumped into the zombies, and as you know, I have been very down about the whole, okay, we're going to be round based, it's going to be boring or whatever. I played about 16 rounds of the sort of open-ish the first zombie map that they show, not Terminus, where it's like the like laboratory, like the kind of open setting where it's like apartment complexes and stuff. I played about
Yeah.
16 rounds of that. It was fine. It was fine. It was I think the one thing or the main thing why I like the Modern Warfare 3 zombies mode, the open world mode, is that you can really engage the more the more difficult areas on your own time. And it was a thing of you jump in. I jumped in with this team. No one was mic'd up. We were just kind of just doing whatever, and we were shooting stuff. And there was just a bunch of like icons in the map. I was like, okay, what does this do? What does this do? What is this whole gumball machine stuff? And you can't really sit and read that stuff while the zombies are blowing your back out. So
Eh.
it is a thing of like, all right, let me just like kill these zombies and then try to get back to that area to figure out like, okay, this is the stuff I need to do. I got to the point where I kind of understood like the kind of ebb and flow of the map and so on and so forth. We opened up stuff, the map was bigger. I do appreciate the fact that you're able to jump on stuff and kind of get like a level difference from zombies, but they don't let you. It's not too crazy. Like you're still going to get swarmed by zombies.
Yeah.
They made a small version of the like three-headed like dog that was in Modern Warfare 3, and that comes out and like it charges at you in I forget exactly what round we're in. So that like kind of like made things a bit kind of spiced it up a bit because we were just shooting zombies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They have these spider zombies. I think they show those in Terminus. They're fine. It didn't really amount to like anything crazy. Um, it was a return to form where I think unless they're able to figure out a way of keeping that whole thing fresh, I have a feeling that it's going to burn out pretty quickly with people. And it's only going to
Why?
be like the people just because like I think the whole round based thing works. I think it worked. I think it had its time. I'm not super
If you weren't a fan of it, then I mean, it's not gonna resonate for you. So I mean,
well, but that's the
it
thing. Like
remains everything. Yeah.
yeah, but like back in the day, like I would sit there and play and play and play, and I burned out on it because I was just like, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I'm gonna do. But it just feels like there's so many more options now in terms of games you can be playing, just other like events and stuff in Call of Duty, where it's just like once you know the lane, once you know what to do in those rounds, you've kind of
Mm-hmm.
figured out the puzzle. So it's just like you're just gonna do the thing. So that's where I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I could be surprised. I mean, they could have like a plan where like they're really changing it up, they're really adding stuff and making it like way more interesting. Like you want to invest into that stuff, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But
I
yeah,
just
that's
want to
pretty
play
much it.
content.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be like I wish they kept those games, made those like a rotating thing and not just like, okay, we're gonna throw it in for a week or whatever and pull it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. that is it for this episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for this video. If you are listening, can you please leave us a review on Spotify, whatever podcast service you're currently tuned in on? We greatly appreciate that. Until next week, where we'll be talking about our impressions of the Switch 2 and what it has in store for us. Or we'll just be talking about whatever.
We've been playing it for a month.
Right? Shh, don't break the NDA, don't break the NDA. But yeah, we'll see you next week. So you take care and keep playing video games, and vote, man. Like, do that. Vote and then play your video games. How about that? Appreciate it. See you.
There you go.